The Shift is brought to you by SE Healthcare. Welcome to The Shift. I'm Dr. Andrea Coyle. Shifties, welcome back to the next episode of the Shift podcast. Dr. Andrea Coyle here. Today, I'm excited to invite and have a new Shifty on the Shift podcast. I'm going to allow Kit to do his own introduction. Kit, welcome. I'm thrilled to have you here. Take it away.
Thank you, Andrea. I appreciate the opportunity. My name is Dr. Kit Bredimus. I am the Chief Nursing Officer for Midland Health in Midland, Texas. I've been in the role for a couple of years now, but also heavily involved with professional organizations like the Texas Nurses Association and the American Organization for Nursing Leadership.
So glad you're here. Kit and I we've had a couple discussion shifties about what we would talk about that would be incredibly helpful and profound for y'all. So what we want to share today are our wellness journeys. And Kit, talk about your wellness journey. When did your wellness journey start? Did it start in nursing school? Just walk us through the journey.
Yeah, so my real focus on my health and my wellness started probably a little over a decade ago now. I had grown up as a pretty healthy kid, chunky kid, husky, as we called it back in the 80s and 90s.
We did call it husky. My brother was called husky. Remember they made husky jeans? You could buy husky size at J.C. Penney's and Sears.
That's exactly it. I always had to shop in the husky section. So always grown up as a big kid, and as I moved into my professional career as a nurse, moving in through nursing school, got heavier and heavier as life burdens kind of compound. So does the weight that kind of adds on over the years. And I really remember a moment. It was in 2016. And I know we talk a lot about shifts in this podcast, which is really exciting. And that was a moment for me. I have kidney stones. And in this case, I was being hospitalized for kidney stones to get the pain under control. And they were putting me on the bed scale. And the bed scale went over 300 pounds. And that was the first time I had weighed myself in probably years at that point. And it was a real wake-up call for me that my weight was out of control, my health. I had young kids at the time. We were expecting another child as well. And I started to think about what is my long-term outlook if I keep going this way? What do I tell my patients when we have these conversations about health and eating right and doing these things? And I myself am, well over 300 pounds. So that was a real wake-up call for me, and it started me on my journey to lose weight, but also get healthy. And it wasn't so much about just dropping pounds, but what can I do to make some long-term changes that will stick and maintain my health? So I started losing weight, eating better. Diet and exercise are important, but I think there's always a overemphasis on exercise. It's really diet. Diet is king. So working on that, and then also incorporating some exercise. I'm a runner. I'm an avid runner. I'm not very good at it, but I do like to do it.
So I love what you just said, Kit, and we've already kind of discussed this, but I think it's really helpful to share with the shifties. In my younger days, I shared with Kit that I was a night shift worker, and night shift was brutal. You're up all night, you eat at night to stay awake, you drink the Coke and the Diet Coke at 4 a.m. Your sleep's not great in the daytime. And I found myself putting weight on. We're going back 30 years. And I had decided I have heart disease in my family, I have high blood pressure in my family, and I had overweight people in my family that did not serve them well. And at that moment, it was probably in my 30s, early 30s, I decided I'm going to get healthy. I got off night shift, and I'm not saying people don't work night shift, because some people work night shift for 30, 40 years. It's just, I have hypothyroid and I have high blood pressure. And so night shift was just not a good fit for me. It physically, mentally made me ill. So I quickly shifted, got off the night shift. And like you, Kit, I started running. I became a runner, and I actually ran this morning. and I'm not a big runner like I used to be, but I incorporate healthy diet, cut back on the carbs, started meal planning. Even when I was working in the ICU or what I do now, I meal plan. I get 8 hours of sleep. And I think, Kit, as you and I both speak with nursing students, I think that wellness journey probably starts with our nursing students. Because to your point, we are healthcare providers and we have to influence and role model well-being because we're always on stage.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that was again something that I really want to incorporate, and I do when I speak to nursing students, when I talk to nurses in general. It's about that self-care, and when we talk about self-care, I still think there's some idealistic view out there that self-care is those indulgences, right? Like going to the spa or massages, and that is a form of self-care. But the real self-care, the things that are going to get you through your shift, your day, and help prevent that burnout, are just the consistent healthy behaviors of diet, exercise, sleep, making sure you're drinking enough water. I mean, those things that are really not very exciting, but they are the things that are the building blocks to make sure that you can continue to do this work that is demanding, whether you're at the bedside or you're nursing in an executive role or academia. We are using a lot of our energy and our skills, and you need to keep yourself healthy to be able to do that.
I agree 100%. And the other thing what you said earlier when we were having a discussion about this podcast, you said the word consistent. And that's a word that I love. I think when you think about leadership, leaders need to be consistent. When you think about the person that's leading your own well-being, you need to be consistent. Can you share with the shifties a few things that you do, Kit, that are consistent for your well-being?
Yeah, absolutely. So as mentioned, I'm a runner, and it probably takes up most of my personality now. But it's something that I really find a lot of joy in. But it's also, if there's any runners out there listening, you also know that there's a monotony to it as well. There's some parts of it that aren't fun, but you do it anyway because it's that consistency piece. So I try to stay active in running at least 5 times a week. I train for races. I train for marathons. I'm currently training for Chicago marathon, which is a world major. It's really exciting, and I'll be doing Tokyo next year. So getting to run those races, it gives me something to look forward to, but it also gives me a reason to train and get out and stay consistent on that. And then just diet and behaviors. Diet is, again, one of the things that I struggle with, and I always have, and I always will, and I recognize that. So something that helps remain consistent for me is that I switched my diet to a predominantly vegetarian diet, probably about 8 or 9 years ago, because I never really ate vegetables. And so now I eat mostly vegetables. So uh, it's those little kind of changes that happened over time, small substitutions here and there that really kind of led to that long-term change, and that leads to that consistency. Though that I don't have to think about it as much; it's just something that I do. But with that comes that intentionality that there are things I know I have to make time for, and that requires that consistency in thought and preparation, making sure that you're really taking the time to focus on your wellness so that you can then in turn take care of other people.
I love that. And as we're having this discussion, where my head is going is I'm hearing all these words that we actually intentionally execute as leaders for other people, but do we really intentionally execute that for ourselves?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm just sitting here thinking about that, and it's really powerful. And if we want to role model health and well-being for society, because that's what we do as nurses and healthcare providers, we need to take some of our leadership languages and behaviors for ourselves. And it's really creating a culture. And, you mentioned running, I'm running. And by the way, you put me to shame. I've never run a marathon. I actually have no desire to run a marathon, although I think it'd be really fun. I've done 5Ks and 10Ks, but I mean, that's as far as it goes. And I think what's really been powerful during my wellness journey is getting an accountability partner who says, hey, every Wednesday at 6 a.m., we're going to go for a 3.5 mile run. My accountability partner was Ray. He's now 88 years old. We used to run every Wednesday between 5 and 6 a.m. True story, Kit and the Shifties. A mile into our run, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, he had a heart attack. And I had to call 911. And long story short, Mr. Ray lives down the street. He's 88 years old. He no longer runs with me. He still walks his dog, rides his bike. He looks incredible. His family bought me running shoes for saving his life, but he truly had a full-on heart attack a mile into our run. My point in telling everyone all this is have an accountability partner.
Mhm.
It's so much easier to get going when you have someone that holds you accountable. It's the same thing in leadership. Have your accountability buddy in leadership. If I start to get off course in something, I want to be able to call my accountability partner and say, hey, Laura, I did this presentation the other day. How did I do? Did I send the right message to my team? So it's kind of, I'm seeing those parallels.
No, you're exactly right. And I think that there is a lot to that. And one of the things that I've found to help me in my career and my leadership journey is to have those either mentors or even peers that I have the ability to, express my intent of what I want to do, but then holding me to that. So it's not just enough to want to do something; it's to put it out there. I'm going to do this, and just by that, verbalization, that getting it on paper or email, or committing to that action, then you have someone then to help hold you accountable for that. Because you're exactly right. I have uh, a saying. It's controversial, but I have a banner, and it's for my own workouts and whatnot. But it's nobody cares, work harder. And in general, that's not great advice. But for me, it's my motivation that if I'm not working out or I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, nobody's going to know. Nobody tracks me and does all this stuff. It's really about me and my own personal accountability. So how can I internalize that? But I recognize in myself that I also need that external accountability as well. So how do I find that? And so that someone does care. There is someone that cares whether I do that or not.
Yeah, I agree with that. So I have a question about Midland. How have you, as the chief nursing officer, created a culture of wellness, of taking care of yourself? And what strategies have you put in place for the team at Midland?
Yes, well, I think the first thing goes back to what you said, is about how do we role model to our team. So the first thing I do is make sure that I'm role modeling the behaviors that I want to see. And again, that goes back to accountability. How do I let my team know what I'm currently working on, or the things that I'm trying to either not necessarily change about myself, but things I'm aware about myself that I'm trying to either chip away at or work on. So part of it's that transparency. I believe in radical transparency, and making sure that my team knows where I stand and what I'm working on, what I'm struggling with. Not to the point where it becomes, like I'm leaning on them as a crutch, but they understand where I'm coming from and how I operate, how I work. So I try to create that in checking in with individuals, not just, simply how are you doing, but understanding where they are, and then sharing again my journey, and see if does that correlate. Is that something that you're working with as well or struggling with? And that has helped not only for my executive team that I work with, but also my frontline staff, because I also share my journey with them. I've been with my organization for a very long time, so folks know me within the organization from my time as a frontline nurse in the emergency department all the way now to the CNO. So having seen this journey that I've gone on has also been helpful, but it's not just seeing it, it's sharing the struggles that go with it, maintaining the weight, maintaining a healthy lifestyle, maintaining balance in work, which again is kind of a myth. There's no such thing as a work-life balance. It's really a harmony, because there's always going to be times when life at home needs you more than work, and there's going to be times that work needs you more than at home, and it's finding that harmony within that. So that's the other big thing I preach with my teams, is making sure that you are trying to find that harmony within your workflows, within what you're doing on your personal life and your professional life, because there's no real way to separate them. There's no way that you can only operate in two dichotomies. They really blend into each other. So being aware of that, being open to that, and being transparent about how we deal with them.
I love that. Do you have, in your nursing strategic plan, is there any particular strategic imperative that is committed to well-being?
Yes, we actually have a well-being pillar. As part of our strategic plan for nursing specifically as well, we kind of dive even deeper into it. We are a ANCC pathway organization, and well-being is one of the pillars there. So we wanted to make sure that we correlate with that, and it's really been something exciting for us. I think that's probably one of the most engaged strategic planning conversations we have every year is about, what are we doing in the wellness pillar, and what are we doing for, as part of that recognition, wellness, team support, all these things. So we do have that pillar, and it's something that I also challenge my executive team and all of my leaders to develop their own personal wellness plans as part of our annual evaluation. So they don't have to share it, in their evaluations, but it's the fact that you do develop one. And if there's anything that you want to share and anything that you want to, not necessarily be held accountable, but you want to put it out there, and something that you would like support with, that's something I encourage.
One thing, Kit, that I really want to say, and this is really coming from a really good place, I admire your leadership because you are so transparent and you are so committed and dedicated to creating a change, creating culture change, culture shift, which, as we all know, takes a long time. It's not easy, but it starts with you, Kit, as the leader, role modeling, being engaged in those very important discussions. And I believe anytime that you talk about wellness with your team, you're actually affording them a gift. Mm-hmm. And that's I really admire that about your leadership. I think it's really important that we do have this harmony. I love that you said harmony. And just curious, this is something I always wanted to do when I was a night shifter. I always wanted to have a space on the night shift that clinicians could go to for 15, 20 minutes, lift a couple weights, jump rope, or maybe hop on a treadmill. Do you have any of that at Midland?
So we don't have we're currently undergoing construction. We used to have a gym here on site that individuals could use. We're building it out again in our new building, but currently we have a walking trail, and it's something that we do encourage our staff to be able to use. It's a little, if you do 2 laps, it's about a mile, but it's lit up, and it's right around our campus. That's something that, take a quick little break, get outside, get some fresh air. I think that's another one of the things that's really hard to do, but we encourage folks to be able to take even just 5 minutes, get downstairs, get outside, as the new generation says, touch grass. So go outside and touch grass. It really is important to get that kind of just mental break, even just for 5 minutes. If you can switch gears and get that, quick little dopamine boost of fresh air and natural light, or if it's nighttime, still same thing, get that night air. It really does help kind of switch gears and allow you that short recoup to keep going.
And that's exactly what we need, because in healthcare, the landscape changes so quickly. And when you're in the clinical care delivery environment, even if you're in the leadership space, things happen, tensions can get high, stakes get high, difficult conversations come before us. And it's helpful for 5 minutes just to get out and decompress. It's helpful for the individual, but it's also helpful for the team. So we end this, Kit, and I'm just wondering if you have 2 maybe takeaways that you want to share with the shifties. I've picked up a lot of great things. I've heard the word consistent. I've heard the word transparent. I've heard the word mentor, all great things. But what are your takeaways, Kit? Because you've given me a couple takeaways.
I think, again, just one of the things I share most is building a consistency habit. Passion and motivation, those wane, but consistency is what's going to get you towards your long-term goals, whether it's health, whether it's professional development, all of those things. It's creating those small little 1 degree changes, minor swap outs that are going to get you to that longer term goal. So I think oftentimes we glorify the motivation when we talk about New Year's resolutions, when we talk about professional development plans. It's always big goals and hit it hard and get started. But really, what I have found to be very successful is understanding what the long-term goal is, the big game plan, and then just implementing small things every day, every week, build and build and build. That is going to build the consistency that you need to be able to keep it going, because your motivation will go away at some point. No matter how motivated you are, it will wane. But consistency, if you can build that up, that is going to do you so much better than all the passion in the world.
My son is a rising senior at the Citadel Military College, and all the cadets are challenged with creating their leadership philosophy. And one of the young men that graduated, who's now in the Navy, his leadership philosophy is growth in inches. And I thought about exactly what you just said, Kit. It's just adding small things, having those goals, reaching the goals, going on to the next goal. And that's in leadership, that's in well-being, that's in life in general. So thank you so much, Kit, for joining us. Thank you for all your wisdom, your knowledge, and most importantly, thank you for your great leadership. Shifties, I always say this, remember, your shift makes a difference. Keep shifting. Enjoying the shift? Help us reach more nurse leaders by rating and reviewing us on your podcast app. It takes just a minute, but makes a big impact. Search for The Shift, tap those stars, and share what you love. Your feedback shapes our future episodes and helps others discover us. Remember, rate, review, and amplify The Shift today.